everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Margot Grantz, Vice President of Elizabeth Grantz Skincare and the third generation behind one of Canada's most enduring family-owned beauty brands. Long before skincare became a global obsession, Margot's grandmother, Elizabeth Grant, transformed her own life story from surviving World War II to becoming a pioneer in at-home skincare innovation and creating one of the industry first serum. Beyond skincare, Margot is passionate about confidence, entrepreneurship, family legacy, and the lesson that comes from stewarding a business across generations. She believes self care isn't vanity, it's about helping people feel their best and show up more confidently in every area of their life. Margot, welcome to Conversations the Second. It's a pleasure to have you on.
It's such a pleasure and a privilege to be here. Thank you so much for helping me talk to your listeners. I'm so excited.
All right. Wow. So yes, first of all, I'll usually say, tell us about your childhood. But from your introduction, it's your family, you guys had a business. So what was it like, growing into a family with a business and just basically what was it like for you as a child?
I think there's two sort of ways to look at that, right? When you're in the eyes of being a child, you sort of
Mm.
wonder, why are your parents so busy, right? Why are my parents working? Why are they asking me for help, right? So in a child's mind, you're sitting there going, well, I just want to hang out with my mom and dad. I just want to hang out with my friends. But then as an adult, or even as a young adult, being able to look at what your parents are doing for you and to step outside of your ego, what a great blessing it was that my parents wanted to build something and wanted to be more than they could have, because we are immigrants. We moved to Canada from South Africa and we started again. And any time in life where anyone, God, universe, someone down the streets gives you an opportunity of a second chance,
Mm.
it doesn't happen often, so you jump in. And I think as an adult looking back, yeah, my parents kept me very busy. My parents kept me helping. And I think it was a really nice place to be. Yeah, we were able to have a roof over our head and food in our belly and a smile on our face that I got to spend with my parents.
Mm. All right. Well, okay. So yes, now I want you to tell us the story behind Elizabeth Grant, right? So your grandmother's story is extraordinary, I would say. And so what are some of the stories about her that, have the biggest impact on you?
I think the biggest impact about my grandmother, and to rewind it a bit, is she was a makeup artist at Elstree Studios in London, England.
Mm.
But why she went into being a makeup artist is because she grew up with a stepfather who wasn't very nice to her. And her stepfather would always tell her how she wasn't pretty enough, how she wasn't smart enough, how she wouldn't do anything. And so she really wanted to not prove him wrong, but prove herself right, that she was capable, that she was of value. And she was able to turn around and be able to get a job where she was doing what she loved. And during World War II, unfortunately, a bomb blast went off and half her skin was damaged by a bomb blast. And all she
Mm.
wanted to do was go back to work. All she wanted to do was feel comfortable and confident in her skin, which I think is a universal truth. I think specifically women, yes, men as well, but specifically women want to look in the mirror and love what they see and be proud of the person who's looking back at them. And so my grandmother always said, never take no for an answer unless we're talking about sexual health, sexual wellness, that thing, that's where no means no. But quite often, when other people are telling you no, maybe about an idea or something you're passionate about, it has nothing to do with you or your idea. It has to do with what that idea makes them feel like. So, my grandmother's greatest lesson is if not you, then who? If you're not going to be your biggest champion, if you're not going to take the chances, if you're not going to believe in yourself, how can you expect the world around you to be that champion for you? And so the greatest lesson I've ever received from her is it doesn't matter what's between your legs. It matters what's between your ears, and it matters what's in your heart. Because if you have a good heart and a good head, you can go anywhere you want to in life.
Okay, I think now I just learned something, right? Like you said, it doesn't matter what's between your legs. It matters what is in your head, right? Good.
Correct.
Yes, that is something that would be my takeaway from our conversation. Basically.
It's a good takeaway, you know?
Right, it is actually. It is. And especially as women, I don't know about where you're from, but over here, uh, it's as a woman to make a difference is quite hard because you're a woman, right?
I
So
get it.
right, it's hard. So you have to work twice as hard as what a man would do for you to, be
While
able to
still
make
being polite, while still being nice,
it.
while still keeping the home, while still promoting people around you, while still taking maybe a second or third seat to who you are. I think universally, regardless of the country where someone's from, it's just packaged differently. I
Right.
think a lot of women globally
Hmm.
have those parameters put around them. You come next,
Hmm.
other people come first. So I understand that.
Exactly. Wow. Okay, so yeah, you just said it right there. So, I believe in women, we are doing our best. We are
We're the
trying, we're
best.
speaking up, right? We're speaking up, we're getting there, basically. So I'm proud of us, I would say. All right.
100%.
Yes, so I'm proud of us. And another thing I would love for us to touch on is, building a legacy brand, right? So you're
Yeah,
building this brand, and I believe that there were some challenges you faced along the way, right? So
of
what challenges
course.
comes with like leading a third generation family brand?
Everything. Here are the challenges. You don't want to mess up what someone else built ahead of you. And I
Mm.
think that is something that a lot of second, third, fourth generation people, they go into the business, they go, now it's my turn. And they sort of forget all the building blocks of where you got to where you have to go. So the whole saying is don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. When you're stepping into somebody else's story, it's your opportunity to write your own chapter, word by word, sentence by sentence, page by page. It doesn't mean you get to go to the beginning of the book and scratch out the author's name and put yourself on top of it. How do you fit into the story? Do you want to fit into the story? What does the story look like to you? And then respecting and responding to what was, to what is. Because a business has changed a lot in 80 years. We've been around for 8+ decades. What my grandmother's challenges were not the same challenges as my mother, who's my grandmother's daughter in law. And it's not the same challenges that I have. So I think being able to know there's space for you to curate your own conversation is really important. But if you're not happy with what you're doing, it doesn't mean to change everything, to like rebuild the house. Sometimes it goes, if I could just change a small part of something that makes me feel more proud, that makes me feel that I've done a difference, what is that? And how do you do that? So, for example, when I came into the business and I was finally in a position that I earned, I said, can we look at the logo? And my mother was like, oh, the logo. What are you talking about? And my grandmother was very upset. My grandmother said, this is my signature. What do you mean? And I said, I feel like the logo could be more embracing of a lot of people, different ages, different genders, different backgrounds. And that's our point. How do we make women feel amazing? How do we make women over the age of 40 not feel like they have to disappear? How do we make them feel that they're part of our opportunity? Because that's what it is. We get to do what we get to do every day because our Trislam girls and our Trislam guys allow us to. They welcome us into their homes and into their hearts. And it's a privilege to be there.
Right. Wow. Okay, thank you, Margot. Like I was saying, this is, becoming inspiring for me, basically. I'm drawing inspiration from your story, and I believe listeners would do the same also. And yes, I want us to also touch on confidence and self-care because, as women, I think that's most of the most important thing for us as women, right? Our
Of
confidence,
course.
right, and our
How
self-care.
not just our confidence, but how we speak to ourselves, how we
Mm,
see ourselves. And quite often, I don't know any woman on this planet, and I know a lot of women who have never been told by somebody in their life that they should stay smaller.
mm,
And it's such an interesting thing because we listen. We listen to why we should stay smaller. We listen to feeding into that separation versus understanding women are the best. Women are the absolute best. And for every man who's listening, you're here because a woman gave birth to you. Okay. Women are amazing.
mm,
But we've been tricked into believing maybe we're not that good. Maybe we're too loud. Maybe we're too big. Maybe we're too tall. Maybe we're too small. Maybe we're too smart. Maybe we're not doing enough. Maybe we're doing too much. And that is the greatest trick for anyone because women can do everything that they want to do as long as they enjoy doing it. And quite often, this has been a regular conversation I've been having with women lately is why do you feel guilty about doing something that you love? Why do you feel guilty that like you're having that cup of coffee, just taking that 10 minutes? Why do you feel guilty that you're jumping 2 feet into a passion project that you really like? Why do you feel guilty that you feel good about maybe just being a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you feel good about working, or maybe you feel good about whatever's on your plate?
mm.
And you shouldn't feel guilty about that. You should feel proud. You should feel inspired. You should feel tired. You should feel all of the things that happen, but you should be proud of yourself for making your own choice, whatever
Exactly.
comes from it. It might not be perfect of what comes from it, but it's yours.
Mm, exactly. Right, first of all, I love what you're saying, right? And like we said, the goal is to be able to make your own choice. That is the
Yeah.
goal, to be able to decide for yourself and not let society decide for you, right? Because I've had a conversation with someone. He said, "Oh, I love women. I love women, but I think
I was
women."
waiting for the butt.
I was waiting for the part two.
I
He
love
said,
women, but
right. He said, but I think women these days have too much freedom, right? Right. So we have too much freedom and we need to be more controlled, right? That there's
mm,
too much freedom. It's like, wow.
mm-hmm. So
Why
much
do you
freedom.
Why
So
do
much
you
freedom.
why do you feel the need to? I feel like at this point, you guys are seeing us as a threat because if you see something and feel like these people need to be put under control, then we are a threat to you. You're scared of what we are capable of, right? So
Of
for you
course.
to want to put us in a cage, you're scared of us, basically. So that whole mentality just threw me off guard. Like, wow, oh
Of
my.
course it should. But it's just like controlled more. How? Like I couldn't imagine a world that is curated. And I'll say this forever. There are people in this world because women gave birth to them. They were not just birthed, they were guided, they were led, they were developed, they were loved for, they were cared for, they were encouraged. Women develop other people, whether it's a child, whether it's their partner, whether it's their girlfriend. We've all been in a situation where we get a phone call from a friend being like, oh, I can't believe this happened, right? And then
Right.
you're on the other line going, girl, you're amazing, right? Like, how do we build you back up? How do we really say, like, what has happened isn't your definition? It's just a sentence. And to say that women have to be controlled more, women are controlled in everything that they do. Women are controlled in what they wear, in what they say, in what they're allowed to do, in the spaces that they get to be. And even if you've earned it, it doesn't matter if you're in India or Brazil or Canada or Senegal or Johannesburg or Australia or Moscow, Russia or London, England. It doesn't matter where you are because women are always sort of checked. Like, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure that that's the path you want to go down? And when you're sitting there going, wait, why are you asking me that? Why aren't you just encouraging me, right? Because it's easier to plant a seed of doubt in somebody's brain that grows into like, maybe they're right. Maybe it's not so great. I call it the forest of despair. So when someone plants a seed of doubt and it grows, it's easier to do that than let someone run and fly. Because if you let someone run and fly, where does that leave the person who let them go? Right? It's the same with being a mom. You raise your kids, you raise your kids, you raise your kids, and then there's a time that they have to go. But you want to make sure that everything is perfect for them. And women will always have that because we don't lean into how amazing we are without comparing ourselves to somebody else. And I don't believe any woman should be a crab in the bucket. I believe every woman should look at another woman and be like, your crown's beautiful. It's a little dull. Let me help you. It's a little tilted. That's cool. I think every woman has a crown. I think every woman is spectacular. I think every woman has the opportunity to be the best version of themselves. But I think often women also don't allow forgiveness for other women. And I think if we're in more of a, I've been there too. Are you okay? How can I help? It softens people, you know? And I think it's all about coming to another woman and not being her savior, but being her friend.
Ooh, okay. Right. So first of all, I'll say thank you, Margot. And yeah, your words are touching me somewhere, right? It's just softening my heart. And I'll say, yeah, thank you. And I
Thank
really
you.
hope listeners, women would listen to this and just feel better about themselves and
They
be
should.
like a companion to our fellow women, right? So
And a companion to yourself. And I
exactly.
think if you are in a room where someone is making you feel small,
Mhm.
leave that room. Give yourself permission to love yourself a bit more.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean that the scenario is easy. That doesn't mean that you can make a clean break from someone.
Mhm.
But you can always make sure that no one's polluting your mind. Right? So if someone's polluting your mind, when they start talking, play your favorite song in your head and just go, totally. And whatever that is, just like let it bubble, because the love and the confidence that women so quickly give out to everyone, I think you have to remember to shine it on yourself.
All right. Exactly. Wow. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Marco. And
Thank you,
before I
Joy.
you're welcome. Oh wow. You're welcome. So before I ask my final question, I just want you to,
Yeah,
tell us about your brand, right? So the Elizabeth brands, right? Tell us more
yeah,
about your brand, the skincare, and then I could ask my final question.
with pleasure. We've been making skincare for 80 years and counting. We
Mm,
are proudly women founded, women led, women inspired. 85% of our staff are women.
mm,
85% of those women are over the age of 45. And the head of our R&D, the main chemist, is a woman over 50. I
mm,
love that we come from a place of how can I make you fall back in love with yourself every day? Not the wrinkles and crinkles. Oh, you shouldn't have those. Like those wrinkles and crinkles, they're attached to a moment and attached to a memory. And aging is a blessing. Not everyone is afforded it. So if you are over the age of 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 and 80 and 90 and 100, like my grandma, even if you're 20, 30 above, I'm here for you. But if you are over the age of 40, that is who I love speaking to. Because instead of telling women how to shrink or how to change or how to erase what they look like, I'm here to crank up that spotlight and be like, you are
mm,
beautiful, you are amazing, you deserve to be not just here, but front and center and the spotlight of your stage. And so we're really proud to continuously make products that work. Thanks to our main ingredient, Jerusalem, that really helps to repair people's skin. And I'm really proud to be able to help someone look in the mirror and love what they see. And that's what we
mm.
do.
Exactly. Right. And I'm just gonna say this for those people who are like curious about, the skincare, check out my YouTube. You're gonna see Margot's face, her skin, her hair. And then you say, okay, I'm getting that because you look good. I was gonna say that.
Thank you. Stop it, go on. I appreciate that. I'm really proud to
Right.
say I'm 41. I'm really proud to be able to, oh, there it is. Yeah, but
Wow.
I'm really proud to say, like, when you stop fighting yourself, yourself stops fighting you. And there's
Hmm.
so many other things. There's so many other things that you could be fighting. Don't fight your beauty. Don't fight your peace. Don't fight your happiness. Pour into that. Pour into your cup, water your grass. That they always say the grass is greener on the other side. And I say the grass is greener where you water it.
Oh, right.
Right?
Exactly. The grass is greener where you are. Ooh, all right. So yes, thank you, Margot. And finally, the
Okay.
purpose of my podcast is to, encourage young adults basically. I know your skincare, you guys focus on 40 above, and but we are taking lessons from you, right? So I just need you to talk to someone out there, right? Specifically younger adults trying to navigate life and build their future. What would you tell them about self-confidence, basically?
The very first person you think about in the morning and the very last person you think about at night is yourself.
Mm,
Oh, I'm so tired. Is that the alarm? I have such a busy day tomorrow. And so the main purpose of being able to look in the mirror and be kind to yourself has nothing to do with your age. It has nothing to do with your skincare. It has nothing to do with the accolades of everything you've accomplished in this world. Because
mm,
every day is a new opportunity to do something that you are blessed to be able to achieve. And so confidence happens not because you're great at something. Confidence happens because you do it anyway. You do it if you're scared. You do it if you don't know. You do it if you try. Because every single thing that you are good at today, you once didn't know how to do. And so the confidence comes from understanding life isn't perfect and life isn't about comparing yourself to somebody else. Life is comparing yourself to who you were an hour ago, who you were yesterday morning. Because who you will be tonight, tomorrow, next week, in 5 years, in 10 years, I don't know. But neither do you. And so if you're so stuck in thinking this is a life that you're meant to live, or this is what happiness is meant to look like, you miss the opportunities of what is actually helping you understand, I really like doing this. And we so often see curations on social media, on podcasts, on television, on magazines, saying this is what it is, right? Versus all the little steps inside of yourself that if you were to turn off social media, if you were not to pick up the whatever magazine is in front of you, if you were not to look at someone else and be like, I wish I had what she's having, I think it's nice to know that someone's looking at you being like, I wish I was more like Joy. I wish I was more like Natasha. I wish I was more like Coretta. I wish I was more like Michelle. There's somebody who's looking at you being like, I just wish I was more like her. And I think knowing that, it's a nice place to be.
Well, like you said, it's a nice place to be. All right, thank you, Margot. This has
Thank
been
you.
amazing. That was
This has been so great. I love that.
right, exactly. And yes, it brings me to the final segment of my podcast. I call it the rapid fire segment. You could either answer with a word or phrase.
Okay.
That's it now. Right, so morning or evening skincare routine.
Ooh. Can I say both in different ways? But like, I think morning is great. I think start it with the day, you have more confidence in the morning. But if the only thing you do at night is clean your face, please clean your face.
Okay, right. Okay, so what is one self-care habit you never skip?
One self-care habit I never skip, and I know I just said it, but cleaning my skin. I think if you don't clean your skin, nothing you do will look great. It's just like changing your clothes. You wouldn't wear the same dirty clothes every day. You got to let your skin breathe.
Clean your skin. All right, so what is the best piece of advice your grandmother ever gave you?
Oh, she's given me so many. But I think a nice one is be charming, be charming, be charming. Because no one will forget how you made them feel. No one will forget, if you had if you were nice, but they will always remember if you were mean. And I think if you're charming, not because you want to get something, but because you know someone might need a better day on the other side, it changes your whole conversation.
Okay, and finally, what is one word that describes you today?
One word that describes me today,
Mm.
I think irreplaceable. And I think every woman should feel that way because you are irreplaceable, you know? So that's what I think. And I think that should go into everybody's cup.
Right. Well, so yes, thank you, Margot. And personally,
Thank
I would
you.
say, I would say it's charming, right? You're charming.
Thank you so much. I
You're
love it. I'll
welcome.
take it. I think you are phenomenal and I think you are charming. And I think what you're
Thank
doing is so great. I think
you.
everyone who's listening to you, I'm sure, just walks a little taller.
Right. Well, okay. Thank you. I'll take it.
Thank you so much.
All right. And yes, finally, Margot, before you go, where can listeners get to, learn more about you and connect with you?
With pleasure. If it's me personally that you want to connect with, I'm at Margot Grantwitz, MargotWI. Oh, no, MargotGrantwitz. But if you want to do anything with the brand, which I still am as well, you just go to at EG Skincare, EGSKINCARE. on any Facebook, Instagram, any social media platform, and of course, elizabethgrant.com. And if you want, we'll give you a great coupon code for your listeners if they have any interest.
Okay, all right. So yes, thank you, Margot. And I'll put a link in the show notes so it's easily accessible for listeners. And to my listeners, I would say thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on a new episode. Once again, thank you, Margot, and do have a beautiful day ahead of you.
You as well. Thank you so much. Mwah!
Bye. Take care.
Bye now.